Jaishankar.
I don't say anything. No. It's okay. President, Parul University, Dr. Devanshu Patel ji, the distinguished academic leadership of the university, sitting on the dais, faculty, family, and most of all, students. It is an enormous pleasure to address the convocation ceremony for foreign national graduates at Parul University. Understandably, it is an important event in Parul's institutional calendar. But more than that, it is a defining moment in the personal lives of those completing their degree. The thoughts that I share with you on such an occasion is meant for both. It is natural when standing before graduating foreign students to talk about the importance of international cooperation. After all, your studies, your stay in India is an expression of that very concept. It is also equally important that Indian students and even faculty appreciate its importance. And there is a particular perspective that a foreign minister can bring to bear on that subject. The world today holds unparalleled opportunities, even while it confronts daunting challenges. Addressing either of them is best done through partnerships and collaborations. No country, however large and powerful, can manage alone. That is the reality of interdependence and of globalization, as also a statement about the limits of power. We may talk a lot about the promise of technology, but whether it is talent, whether it is data, or it is resources, everything cannot just be nationally generated or controlled. In fact, the very idea of a global order, or indeed of international relations, is the assumption that nations have to work with each other for their mutual and collective benefit. The rest is about setting optimal terms to do so. Perhaps some of you are wondering why I'm laboring the obvious. And the answer is that the contemporary discourse has many assertions to the contrary. Some do not give that much value to friendships. Others have hardwired their cynicism into policies and structures. And that is why, to foreign students, I highlight, just as your president did just now, the relevance of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world as a family. Now, having lived in India for some years, I think all of you can assess for yourself our openness, our pluralism, and our diversity, as also our long tradition of growing with the world instead of distancing ourselves from it. In many ways, we stand out by promoting commonness rather than seeking uniformity. That you can see in our languages, in our faiths, in customs, traditions, cuisine, and practices. Our openness to each other in India makes us just as open with the world. We therefore neither build walls, real or metaphorical, nor impose our ways on others. Obviously, as a large polity in the international community of almost 200 nations, we do have national interests and naturally seek to advance them. But this is sought to be done with mutual understanding and mutual benefit as its guiding principles. I'm very confident that it is this understanding of India that all of you will take back home. It has become a fashion in some quarters to be openly transactional when it comes to dealing with other nations. Bear in mind that some are actually practicing it in reality even while preaching the opposite. There can be a legitimate debate about how best to engage the world. Some of it may be driven by cost benefit, but among certain societies, sentiment and values also count for something. In fact, they count for a lot. India belongs to that category. Even while pursuing our national goals, we have always kept in mind our larger obligation to the world and to the international community. Now, our resources may be limited, but let me say, India has always had a large heart. And that is why, still being a developing country, we have undertaken more than 600 development projects in 78 nations across various continents. For that very reason, even while we were in the midst of taking care of our own, we supplied vaccines to 99 nations and medicines to 150 during the COVID pandemic. When we advocate the interests of the global south, it is for a reason that only a member of that fraternity can appreciate. Doing the right thing is also doing the smart thing. In an age of narratives, it is also to be expected that friendships will be professed by many. After all, one goal of diplomacy is to maximize solidarity with other nations, to strengthen one's own position. Some countries do that through collectives based on geography and history. Some others invoke faith, language, or culture. India's endeavor, even while building on bonds of proximity, sociology, and heritage, has been to promote goodwill through development. To that end, we have utilized two broad approaches that drive our activities abroad. One is to share our experiences in a very concrete manner with partners, conscious that they are probably more relevant to their needs than those that our partners could access elsewhere. The other is to continuously strengthen capacity building so that partners have a better ability to evaluate and make their own choices. Together, what it does is to give our partner countries, especially those of the global south, more options as well as a stronger hand in negotiating with others in the world. Let me give you some concrete examples, starting with access to clean water. The Jal Jeevan Mission has in fact been a flagship initiative of the Modi government at home. Now, if you look abroad, that very objective has been executed by us in a major way in Tanzania, in Mozambique, in Maldives, and in Malawi. Or take electricity and its efficient transmission. Capabilities developed at home are being deployed today in Bhutan, in Bangladesh, Myanmar, Nepal, Nigeria, Benin, and Gambia. Or let me draw your attention to health, which is so much in our minds after the COVID pandemic. Indian pharmaceuticals have helped to keep healthcare affordable and accessible the world over. Our Bhabatron cancer treatment machines are today in use in Mongolia, in Uzbekistan, in Myanmar, and in Kenya, among others. Even our low-cost pharmacies, which are called Jan Aushadhi Kendras, are beginning to get attention abroad, starting with Mauritius. And in fact, the supply of Jan Aushadhi medicines is ongoing to Nauru and to Guyana. Our renewable experiences are also being similarly shared through the International Solar Alliance. Similarly, our disaster preparedness is being done through the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. Most important, digital public infrastructure, whose benefits all of you personally experience every day in India. It is today receiving global traction. Among those who have shown interest include Sri Lanka, Kenya, Tanzania, Colombia, Cuba, and Angola. The same logic is also visible when it comes to capacity building. Our objective is to create capabilities on a sustainable basis in other societies, drawing on our experiences and learnings. They can extend from the big to the small, from the complex to the obvious, from the creative to the routine. Be it engineers in Zanzibar or solar mamas in the Pacific, from vocational training to information technology, from improving tax systems to ensuring security, India's partnership footprint is large and growing. It spans the exchanges of trainers and students to ensuring distance education and virtual health training. So I urge you to recall the adage of giving a man a fish versus teaching him how to fish. We in India advocate the second, the lifetime solution. India's neighborhood has experienced this commitment to finding cooperative solutions more than any other region. In fact, the last decade has seen a real transformation in connectivity and contacts. There are today power grids, fuel pipelines, road, railways, and waterways that could not have even been imagined a decade earlier. In every crisis, we have stood together in this region for our collective well-being. It could be vaccine supply during the COVID, or fuel and fertilizer supply after the Ukraine war, post-earthquake response and relief in Nepal and Myanmar, or first responder endeavors in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Maldives. Like in any grouping, there obviously has to be a mutuality of benefits and respect for each other's sensitivities. But given the turbulence that characterizes our contemporary world, this willingness to stand by each other will only become more important with the passage of time. Friends, trusted friends are usually found in testing times. This is both a personal experience as well as a policy reality. Often, we are confronted with natural disasters or even man-made situations that are beyond the national capacities of any country to cope. This could be an earthquake or a typhoon, a conflict or a pandemic, indeed, anything that is unforeseen and consequential. In such contingencies, the cooperative facet of world affairs comes to the fore. Relying on those more distant and less connected is no longer prudent. There is neither the same capability nor indeed the necessary empathy. India has certainly taken on much more responsibility in the last decade. It was visible when an earthquake recently struck Myanmar, or when conflict zone evacuations took place, such as in Ukraine, or in fact during the Sri Lankan economic crisis. The world today is returning to its natural diversity and to its pluralism. As colonial empires ended, many societies have regained their voice along with their freedom. The membership of the United Nations has itself quadrupled since its founding. It is essential that in our quest towards a more equitable and contemporary world order, that there is mutual respect for cultures, traditions, and heritage. While the colonial era may be behind us, new forms of domination have emerged, misusing the openings provided by globalization. They profess to judge us all and pronounce on our credentials. One example is the ill-concealed interference in the politics of nations of the global south, often in the name of promoting democracy. Sadly, such agendas are encouraged even by some segments within our own society. Mr. President, faculty, friends, foreign students studying in India have experienced firsthand a rich and vibrant culture. They know and they have seen with their own eyes that India is that rare civilizational state which is today reclaiming its rightful place in the Committee of Nations. The return of pride in our heritage and traditions will surely be a message that they will carry back to their respective countries. And with that, a sense of a self-confident India that is not only the most populous nation and the fourth largest economy, but also a polity with a long view of opportunities and challenges. Some of those who are graduating today may have worked out their career progression. Others may still be weighing their options. But I have no doubt that whichever domain you choose to work, many of you will emerge as leaders and influencers. It is therefore necessary that you differentiate between day-to-day concerns, however dramatic they may be, and the more perennial issues that the world confronts. And indeed, there are some problems that affect us all and can be expected to continue in the foreseeable future. Terrorism would surely rank high in that list. Recent events have only sharpened our awareness. In Pahalgam, what we saw was an attempt to devastate the tourism economy of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, as well as an evil design to sowing religious discord. The barbarity of the killings required an exemplary response, which was delivered by destroying terrorist command centers, especially in Bhavalpur and Muridke. It is imperative that those who sponsor, nurture, and utilize terrorism for their ends are made to pay a high cost. That it warranted a forceful response even after the 26/11 attack in Mumbai in 2008 is widely acknowledged. But times have changed and our resolve is much stronger now. Terrorism epicenters are no longer immune. India's zero tolerance for terrorism is manifest today through its actions. We will never give in to nuclear blackmail, and whatever decisions have to be taken in India's national interest are taken and will continue to be taken. As we responded to the Pahalgam attack, it was also heartening to witness the understanding from other nations of our right to defend ourselves against terrorism. There are other pressing challenges too faced by the world, especially by our brothers and sisters of the global south. We all realized during the COVID pandemic how much our health security was dependent on others. The Ukraine conflict brought home the vulnerabilities of energy security. The shortage of fertilizers and the scarcity of food grains left many economies deeply impacted. Debt situations have worsened even as trade prospects deteriorated in face of financial decisions taken far away. And through all this, the pressures of climate change have grown steadily, although the resources to combat them have shrunk. I highlight these concerns not to alarm you, but to urge an awareness and understanding of the larger challenges faced by humanity. Each one of us, in whatever we do, can find some way of making a difference. Now, precisely because the world is so volatile and uncertain, it is essential that we consciously develop an approach of self-reliance, Atmanirbharta. This should not be confused for a rejection of international relationships or of insulating ourselves from the world. In today's context, it means having the essential capacities within our national control to the extent possible. Obviously, that would be more expansive in a case of a larger nation like India. But after the experience of COVID and the rampant leveraging of economic and financial tools, these are increasingly necessary precautions. Various countries will naturally give their own specific expression to this commitment, to this search for self-reliance. In India, it has primarily taken the form of what we call Make in India, as well as greater usage of our products and practices. Capabilities and confidence developed together, and advocacy of our talent and skills is very much a part today of India's development. In the recent counter-terrorism operations, Operation Sindoor, it was notable that our indigenous technologies played a very successful part. There could be no better refutation of those who publicly ran down Make in India and undermined national self-confidence. I really hope that students going back to their respective countries carry back this message, this lesson. It may enthuse them to think of similar endeavors at home. Just as nations have built their image, individuals too have their own branding. They develop their own reputation. Perhaps this is a moment to reflect on personal qualities, traits, and approaches. I strongly believe that young people should be optimists. They should be optimists because more than any other demographic, they aspire to a better tomorrow. But that effort should be rooted firmly on the ground in realism. When analysis is divorced from ground reality, it can only end badly. We have seen that to our cost in the early years after independence. At a personal level, allow me today to offer 3 thoughts for your pathway ahead. 1, develop strong work habits early in life. It will make you serious and credible as a person. Avoid becoming shallow because, believe me, that trait has no shelf life. 2, it is a competitive world, and understandably, all of us strive at most to win. But do not stoop low for that reason, even if others do. And 3, take on responsibilities. Take on responsibilities because there is no better teacher in the world. Those who have never shouldered responsibilities will remain immature without the gravitas to lead. So, to the graduating students, let me say this. You are all entering a new phase of your life. As you graduate and go back to your homes, do take a part of India with you. I'm sure that you are also leaving a part of yourselves behind in the university, as also among your cohort, your friends, your peer group, your teachers. The timelessness of friendships is another great gift you carry, and I know that it will stand you all in very good stead. You have today done your country, your family, but most important, you have done yourselves proud through your achievements. I wish you all the very best for your growth, for your success, for your happiness. Thank you very much.